Okay, guys, so we are going to have a look at the 2015 road geometry question that I gave you for homework yesterday. What we have with it is, first of all, in your exam papers, the question is always in section B, okay, of the exam paper, but the actual map itself is always at the back of section A, okay, when it comes to putting it for your board and everything. So what we have with this question is that we have three different parts. We have part A, we have part B, and part C. Part A is the road geometry part. Part B then is looking at boreholes that we looked at. And then part C then is looking at basically the profiles that we're doing, or a variation of the profiles that we were doing before. So first of all, with the road section, what we are told first of all is we're told that section A to B is level at an altitude of 65. So part of the road is level at 65. So put that in first. So A to B. So I have B here is at 65, and I have A here is also at 65. Okay, and we'll just make sure that when we're doing it to put a line across. So make sure I put a line across my road here at A. So it's level at 65, and I have B, which you'll notice there B is level with the side of the car park. Okay, that's important. And then it says that from B to C is rising uniformly to a level of 70 meters. So in this one, they don't give us a gradient like we did in the other one. So it doesn't tell us 1 is to 15 or anything like that, but it tells us where it starts and where it finishes at in terms of being uniform. So what we have then is that B is at 65, C is at 70. Okay, and again, just notice here that the C is in line with the edge of the car park again. Okay, and they're 5 meters apart. Okay, so we don't have to worry about kind of any in between ones. If you were to get an exam question that had the 2 points were rising or falling uniformly between 2 points, and let's say it told me that C was at 75, then if I wanted to find the 70 mark, it would be in between. Okay, so we could bisect it or to find it in between. Or if it was, if 60 was to 65 and C was at 80, we'd have three different divisions, and we would do the division and line construction to find our different in between ones. So that will come up in different exam questions as we go through them. So next thing then, that's our ground levels. It says the sides DE and GF of the car park are level. Okay, so what that just means is that the car park is going to be going up this direction. Okay, so that's the direction it's going to be have a gradient on, but in this direction it's completely level. Okay, so it's level that side as level that side. There is no up or down on that bit. It's completely level. Okay, so that's going to be important for it as well. So then we have the side slopes for cuttings, 1 is to 1, and for the embankments or the fill is 1 is to 1.5. So that's where I have then over here, I have my cones put in, or sorry, my triangles in here. So I have my cut being on the low side and multiplying it up to get my 5, and I have my fill then is up on my side here to get up to 7.5, okay, with my multiplication. And I just put in here about the gradient uniformly just so that I had it there. After that, then I'm going to do the earthwork. So think about A and B or think about B and C in a second. So what I have then is I have my road. I need to figure out whether I'm cutting or whether I'm filling. So what I have here is 65. I have 55, 50, 60. Okay, so with the 65 here, I'm going to be filling up as far as this point because that's when it's level with the road. So I'm going to be filling there. And then after that, then it's above the road, so I'm then going to be cutting. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting there for the road. Now I'm going to forget about this for a second. I'm not even going to pay really any attention to that for now. And I'm going to put in these things. So for my fill is because this road is level. Okay, I'm going to go parallel to the road, so I'm going to have my 7.5 coming up, and I'll put in my lines. Now I'll just bear in mind that I don't want it to go too far. I don't want it to go into the cut very much because of the fact that cut's going to be happening. I don't want to go on top of it. So I have my 65, I have my 60, I have my 55, and I have my 50. So then I'm going to have 50, 50, 55, 60, and then so that's going to be my my fill there. Okay, I'm just going to pause the video for a second and move my board so that sun doesn't get in the way. Okay, so the sun hopefully shouldn't be any more trouble. It's a good problem to have though. Okay, so what we have then is with the cut part. Cut we are looking at 5. Okay, and again it's still level with the road, so I'm just going to be coming out in my 5s for it to do parallel because of the fact the road is level. So I have my cut here. So my cut is 65, so then I have 70, 80, 90, 100. I don't think I need any more than that. So I have 70 first, so I have 70, 70. Sorry. Went up in 10, sorry. So you'll see here I said to you that the exam questions were always a little bit neater than the ones in the book, and there's a good example of it where the road meets right back in at this point over here, which makes it nice and easy to see what we're doing. So Phil put in my couple of tadpoles there and my cut going along there. Okay, so what we're then told is that we're also told that G to F is level. Okay, so we're told, and that's coming from the fact that D, E, G, F of the car park are level. Okay, so it tells us that they're level. So when it's level, I can come straight out with the road. I know that this is at 65. Now there's no harm in the corners of these. Every time you have a letter, there's no harm in putting in what level it's at. So I have F is at 65, and then it was going to be rising with the road. So I'm going to have E is going to be at 70. Okay, no harm putting those in. It's a good reminder. So I'm still going to be at 65. I'm still going to be cutting here, am I? No, 75, so 65, I'm level with the road. Actually, I'm going to be filling, okay, because we're going underneath the road here, so 60, 55, so I'm going to be filling. So 7.5's out here. Again, it's good to just take that extra second to make sure that you're going to be, where you're going to be cutting your filling. So you can see there that I had assumed that was going to be cut, but actually it was fill, so don't ever assume anything when it comes to this. So I'm going to be filling. So I have 65, I have 60, 55, 50, 45. Okay, so 65, 60, 55, 50, another 50, back to 55. Okay, now that should be enough. We'll see where everything lines up after. 55. Actually, I have another one here for 60. Okay, so there's my line for the side. Now I'm going to work with this bit. Okay, now this bit has a gradient on it, so we need to look at doing cones. Okay, because it has the gradient going for it. So what I have then is I have my 70 and I have my 65. So is it cut or is it fill? 65 here, it is 50, 55, so I'm going to be filling. Fill goes on the high side. Okay, so I am going to get my 7.5 on my compass here. So my 7.5 there, and I'm going to swing my, sorry, fill is on, yes, fill's on the high side, so I'm going to swing my cone here. Okay, now what you'd probably do is just extend your car bag out just a little bit because we need to make sure that the cone has something to join onto. And then I am going to draw my line out. So I have for my fill, I have my line coming out here, a tangent to it. We know that the line that comes out here is at the level that it came from, so I have 65, okay? And then I'm going to come out at my 7.5s like we would have done before. So 7.5s. and make sure that I go parallel to that. So just sliding my set squares. You can use your adjustable set squares for this as well, but when it's only a few lines, you're quicker just to slide your set squares really than setting up your adjustable one. So 65, then I am filling, so I am going to be 60, 55, 50. Okay, so I have my 65 here. Where is my... Sorry, no, we need to make sure that these go and they need to cross over with this, so just make sure that they go that little bit further so we can see where everything is going. So I'm just going to bring them all the way down. Again, your lines for these can't be too long with these. So I have 50, 55, 60, 65. Okay, and we wanted to get to the road here, but you'll see here that the 70 contour line actually hits E, and E is at 70, so that can come straight to that. And then what I get is I get my line coming up, and we'll see that they cross. Okay, so that gives me where my corner is. And then we just need to put in the C's for it. So as I said to you, when it comes to the C's, we want to make sure that the C's go facing down the hill. Okay, so if this is fill, they're going to go this way around, coming down. Okay, and that is then our road part done. Okay, now the second part then that we're asked to do is that we have, so part B here, we have on the map vertical boreholes at points P, Q and R reveal the top surface of the stratum of ore at altitudes of 30, 35 and 45 respectively. Now, a few things in this before I actually start doing any drawing on it is to just point out what we need here. Vertical boreholes, okay, so they're cutting straight down at P, Q and R reveal the top surface of the stratum of ore at altitudes of 30, 35 and 45 respectively. Okay, now what's important about this is that they're not outcrop points. Okay, it doesn't say that they're outcrop points, which means that they're not at the surface. Okay, it means they're underneath and they have to be drilled down to get to them. What we're then given is we're given what altitudes they're at. Okay, so if we're given the altitudes that they're at, where they are in relation to the map doesn't really matter that much because altitudes are the same no matter what we're given with these things. So altitude is a measure. So what we would have then is that if I want to find these, is I project up. You see they've given us the gap there for to put it into. And they've told us also that we have a line here at 20. So if I have 30, 35 and 45 respectively, I'm going to be coming up in fives. Okay, and I can draw my lines across. So I have 20, I have 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. And then I can put in each one of my points. So we have P is at 30. So P here is at 30. We have Q is at 35. And we have R then is at 45. Okay girls, so sorry about this, but I had some technical problems with the video stopping recording at the point when I was up here, so the rest of it didn't actually record, but I'm going to just quickly go through it now so that even though it's done, you know what's kind of going on with it. So what you have is that once you have your head wall put up here, or your laminar plane if you want to think about it like that, we then have to find a strike. So to find a strike, we're going to come from the middle one in height, which would be Q here. We're going to come straight across horizontally, okay, and we're going to bring down where it hits RP here down into the plan as it would be, and we get this orange line then, which is our strike. Okay, again, this is our strike because this line being horizontal means that this line is a true length. Okay, and that's what makes it a strike, because when we look along a true length of a line, we'll see it as a point, which then gives us the edge view of it over here. So once you have your strike, always remember that you need to label it. So the strike is always, as I said to you, it's always to north. Okay, so we know that north is straight up because it has it up here. So with this one then, our strike is north 77 degrees. So that would be by measuring my angle here. Okay, so 77 degrees, which would be my angle up here. East, because it's to the east side. So it's north 77 degrees east. Okay. After that, then once you have your strike, then you're going to look along your strike to see the view where you're going to see your dip. So where you're going to see your head wall as an edge. So I have my x1, y1 line here, taking my heights from my elevation up here. Now, what you'll see with this is that I took this xy line as being 0, okay, and I measured up from there rather than taking it at 20. You can take the xy line, x1, y1 line as 20, but just make sure that you write it in somewhere. So if you take it as 20, just make sure you write 20 in somewhere near it to explain what you're doing. Then just remember, then once you have your edge view, your points should all be in a line. My Q is slightly off, but slightly off is okay. And then make sure that you measure your dip to horizontal. So x1, y1 line is horizontal, so my dip then is in here, again measured to my other one here at 22 degrees, and so my dip is 22 degrees. Okay, and then that's part B, and that's your full marks for part B. Now the last part is the new part. Okay, so the part that's different, the part C. So what we have here is that we have a lake is located in the area marked L, so down here in the bottom corner, in the southeast corner, yeah. The surface of the lake is at an altitude of 50 meters. So you'll see here S here is at 50 meters, the surface of the lake. The line ST represents the center line of an overflow pipe of the lake. So if the height of the lake is too high, then the overflow pipe takes water, basically. The pipe travels from point S, so from our point S over here, at an altitude of 50, so S being at the height of the lake, to a manhole located at the point T. So there's a manhole down here, so the manhole will be there for them to inspect it or whatever like that. The pipe falls uniformly at an angle of 10 degrees. Okay, determine and indicate in meters the depth of the pipe vertically below the ground at point T. So what we want to do is that we need to figure out how far below the surface point T is, okay, using the information that we have. So first of all, if we have the pipe falling uniformly at an angle of 10 degrees, we need to just look at an elevation, okay, because we can't see what angle something falls at in a plan. Okay, because if we had it falling at 10 degrees, if that was horizontal, I would be moving my pencil up like this. My pencil is at an angle now, but you can't actually see what angle it's at. Okay, so we have to take an elevation. Now, what I have here then is I have my elevation taken. This is the same method as we would use for a profile. So what these really are when you get these part C's are profile kind of questions. So what we have is I have my line coming along here. So I've taken an x and y1 line parallel to that, okay, and I'm looking directly in at it. So because my x and y1 line is parallel to the line that I want to take basically my profile at, it means that I'm going to see it as a true length of the line, okay, because it's parallel. And what we're going to see then as well is I'm going to project perpendicular to that, and I can put in my point S. So my point S is of 50, so that would have been just taking my set square and measuring my 50 up from the XY line. And then I have my line coming down at 10 degrees. Now 10 degrees has to be to horizontal, so my measurement will be taken from S at 10 degrees here. Okay, so 10 degrees down. And I get my line down until it gets to T. Okay, now T is just coming projected up as well, and I get where my point T is at the ground. So the information that we're looking for is not how far where T is, it's how far below the ground T is. Okay, so what we want to do is we need to know where ground level is, and the way that we know that is here T is on a contour line. Okay, so it's on a 40 contour line. So I know at C that the ground level is here. So just by measuring up my 40 millimeters. Okay, and sorry, from here, it's from my XY line, so my 40 millimeters. And what I can then do is I can measure the distance between the ground and the point T, which down there is 7 meters, so 7 millimeters is 7 meters. And then I just put in here point T is 7 meters below the ground. Okay, and that's then getting me my marks for my question there. Now what you'll find in these questions is that there will be part C's that are like that, which are ones that you have to kind of think about. And it's constructions that we're used to because we've done the profiles, but it mightn't always be clear straight away what you're going to do for that. So the part C's might take a little bit of thinking, but with a bit of thinking, they're very practical normally, and it's just about thinking, okay, in the real world, what would actually happen here, and what would the views look like in that real world kind of view if I was trying to figure out what I was trying to do.